All right, let's talk about the new look Los Angeles Rams defensive line. There's really kind of three players I'm going to talk about. One of them was on their roster last year, but it's a post Aaron Donald world. They have drafted multiple players to try and recreate some of the pass rush stuff that Donald could do. You can't replace him with one guy, so use multiple guys to replace him. That's what they're trying to do. And let's just get into it. Let's start off with the first guy. We're actually going to start off with Braden Fisk, the interior defensive lineman they have added, who I do think is a really good pass rushing interior defensive lineman. They got him in round 2, but I think they are expecting him to do, what Aaron Donald can do, just a lot less, right? Like, can you just, do an Aaron Donald type play? Like, I don't know, half the time Aaron Donald was able to do it, even that would be pretty often, so maybe not even that, but you know what I mean. This play, it's going to be a one-on-one matchup against the left guard that he's going up against, and watch what happens. So real quick, you see, yes, it is a one-on-one matchup. Center is not currently over here, but you would still like to stay away from the center if possible. Fisk is going to use his right hand, put it on the kind of the left side of the left guard, and push him towards the bottom of the screen. That's what he's going to try to attempt to do right here. And look at how well he's able to pull that off. I mean, listen, it'll be hard to do that against NFL-level offensive linemen, of course, but the fact that you can do it against college offensive linemen is certainly, if you couldn't do it against them, you're certainly not going to be able to do it against NFL guys. So the fact that he can do it against them is promising. But also, even stuff like this, where what's going to happen is right here, so it's going to be going up one-on-one against the left guard. But I thought this is an interesting point to bring up, and something we'll talk about a decent amount in this video as well. Watch how when this play begins, you're going to see that he's generating a pressure. This isn't quite the last play where he's just kind of annihilating someone, but part of what I was wondering is, we talk about this new look, getting several different guys to generate pressure type of defensive line. Well, one of the benefits of that is that if pressure comes from somewhere else, the quarterback might move into different situations in the pocket, and if you can just get pressure from multiple different areas, it can, there could be essentially be nowhere left for the quarterback to go. Watch, this quarterback essentially runs into Fisk because there was pressure off the edge, and he was able to go over and make the play. So Fisk still did a good job on that one and still was able to, get his hands on the quarterback. That's always good. But getting pressure from several different areas is very important. So that's something that I want to talk about. And one of the areas they can get pressure from as well would be with, Braden Fisk's teammate, which is Jared Verse, the guy they drafted in round 1. Let's go over here. He is the edge rusher on this play. And, again, we remember how good that Rams defensive line looked when they added Von Miller, right? It was always very good because it had Aaron Donald, but you add Von Miller and, getting the great interior defensive line pressure along with, a good edge rusher does a lot. And while, again, the Fisk, Turner, and Verse have a long way to go to be Aaron Donald and Von Miller, two Hall of Famers still. When this play begins, you see that quick get off by Verse to get towards the edge and get past that offensive lineman. All he can really do is try and push Verse behind the quarterback at this point. But Verse is pretty strong as well. You see that doesn't work out, and he is able to get the sack right away. And that's really helpful if you can get those speed rush sacks, especially when you have good interior defensive line pass rushers, because that might get the quarterback to step up, but maybe there's no room to step up. Or the quarterback might take a step back once they realize that, Kobe Turner is right in my face, I got to step back. Now Verse is clobbering you from the side, right? So having pressure come in multiple ways is so crucial. Like, this play is another one of kind of a similar idea. This time is going up, one-on-one against the left tackle right here, and watch what happens. You're going to see here, it's not really just a straight-up speed rush, but uses his hands to still get towards the edge right here. Again, for the quarterback, maybe you could try and run in between a tackle and guard, but again, do you want to do that with the Rams' defensive front? Well, here, the quarterback doesn't even try it. Verse is able to get the sack once again. So, yeah, this stuff is very exciting. Adding these two young players is very exciting. But what's also very exciting is that these are not the only two young players they have on their defensive line. They drafted Kobe Turner late in last year's draft, kind of as like a flyer type pick, but he ended up being really good last year. In fact, he was Pro Football Focus's 10th highest rated interior defensive lineman. Not among rookies, among just defensive linemen, or interior defensive linemen, 10th ranked out of the 130 eligible players. Let's talk about him for a second. Going over here, when you watch him, he just consistently makes things happen. It might not even be like highlight reel level plays. I'm sure we've seen some highlights. I wanted to kind of show a different example. Maybe I'll make a film study on him in the future and really talk about what he can do. But here, one-on-one matchup against the guard. You see that when this play begins, guard kind of meets him pretty quickly, but you see how Turner is able to get sort of towards the side right there. So now for the Giants guard, he's just going to try and push Turner towards the bottom of the screen. However, when he does that, does not go too well. Turner is able to get a hand on Tyrod Taylor. Other help comes through. So, yeah, these three guys being able to consistently get pressure. They have some other guys who are interesting, like, Byron Young is an interesting type player. Michael Hoyt has made some flashes, for sure, in the pass rush game, definitely. But you just hope you get enough with the other depth guys. These top three are their three key defensive linemen, and definitely could generate some pressure, I think, for time to come, as they are all very young players. So yeah, I think that these are guys who could play really well together, and even the other players that I've brought up, like the guys that aren't the main three that I've brought up, then they just have to come in and be role players, right? If they can just get some production, which, whatever defensive lineman you put out there is going to get some production, right? A replacement level edge rusher doesn't get 0 pressures in a season. So, and I think some of their guys are maybe not like elite outside of those top three, but at least are, better than replacement level. So if you can just get some production out of those guys, it can really help out. And usually to get a sack, get a pressure always is helpful, right? You can disrupt the play, all of that good stuff. But to get a sack, usually you need more than one thing. Usually, no matter how good one defensive lineman does on a play, every now and then you see, like an Aaron Donald gets right by someone right away. But I think about even that Super Bowl clinching play with Aaron Donald. He gets into the backfield right away, but what also happened was Joe Burrow's first read wasn't open, and he has to get over and, try to get to the next read, and doesn't have time to do it because Aaron Donald's right in his face at that point. So, usually you need something like that, or if there's pressure from multiple different areas, maybe, pressure comes from some way, so as a quarterback, you step into a different area, but now pressure is there as well, and that happens. I still do have some concerns about the Rams secondary. I think that's fair. Let's be honest, there were times last year where Aaron Donald was getting to the backfield pretty quickly, but not able to get sacks due to the fact that the coverage wasn't quite getting enough done. So there is still that concern. Maybe they just feel like some of the young guys getting a second year will work out better, but they also needed to help out the pass rush, and I do think this is going to help it out. And it's an interesting time for the Rams, because if all these guys hit, again, usually we're kind of used to a lot of the defense coming from, a couple players, and a lot of the pass rush coming from one player, or maybe one player and then, a couple other solid players. I don't know if we've ever quite seen it like this, where it's 3 players that it's hopefully coming from, and 2 of them are inside players as well. 2 of these 3 guys I talked about, Kobe Turner and Fisk, are both inside guys. Only Verse is the outside guy. So that's interesting as well. But yeah, as a whole, I think this is a unique strategy, and one that I think will probably work for the Rams, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Rams' new look defensive line. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.